on this windy day, I'm doing a test ride in my apron. This bike is interesting in that it's a pretty decent bike, got some decent components on it. Probably the fork is shot, but we don't care that much. It's still rideable and will serve whoever decides to ride it eventually. It's got the blue tape on there, which means somebody in our team said, yeah, this is good to go. But Mike just got on it and he said it wasn't doing shifting right, but then he said he wasn't quite sure what was off, so I'm going to give it a try here and see what I can see or feel. So right away it just shifted. I didn't do anything.
Often a bike will behave in the stand, but then when you get it under a rider and it's under load, suddenly problems that weren't there appear. And I think that's what's going on with this bike.
Front derailleur looks good. But that back derailleur feels, I don't know if you can hear that. Definitely not right. Sounds like pretty much in all the gears it's making some noise that it shouldn't be making. Front derailleur is fine. Shifts cleanly on the back. Pretty much every gear was skipping around. So I'm going to throw it up on the stand right now and see what we see. So the shop is crowded right now, so this is like a little auxiliary room that's not being used today. And it's quiet, which is nice. Most of the time I'm clamping from the seat post. Notice when I angle the bike, it's facing down this way. That's just so this swings down and stays out of the way and stays parallel to the bike. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a close up on this rear cassette. And let's see if we can get it to misbehave like it was misbehaving when I just test rode it. Test rode it. Well, that doesn't feel good. It's interesting, it shifts cleanly, but it feels bad. I'm also hearing a little bit of rubbing on that rotor, so I'm probably going to fix that as well. Okay, so there, it got to do it. So I'm going to use this barrel adjuster back here. And it sort of hesitated going up into the lower gear. So I'm gonna just turn that out a little bit, see if I can get to do a little more clean shift. Feels rough. See how it's hesitating going down. So now I'm thinking it may be something a little more complicated. So I just turned the barrel adjuster back the other way so I can have it hop down more cleanly. A couple of possibilities why this is shifting okay in the stand, but really not okay on the ride. So this is under load, so maybe there's a reason why it's skipping around. So here's my park tool, my chain checker, that's CC 3.2. I use this all the time. There's a 0.5 on one side, a 0.75 on the other side. Start with a 0.5. This chain is not looking great. It looks like it hasn't been taken care of. You put this little side in here and looks like it's fine. I'm gonna check it in another spot just to make sure.
So again, it's not excessively worn. But I'm looking back here at the rear cassette, and I'm seeing some iffy spots on it. There's like a little hollowed out space right there. It's a little bad. The one right behind it, see how that little scoop is uneven? So makes me suspect that this cassette may need to be replaced before it's going to shift right. Went digging in the parts bin and found this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm thinking this is going to be the answer to our problem with our uneven shifting. I'm not going to bore you with the cleaning part, but I've been scrubbing on this with my Harbor Freight $2 brush. And I'm about to get in here, back here. I don't know if you can see this, but back in here, there's some goo. For that one, I'm going to use this. It's a Gear Clean Park Tool GSC-1. You can also use this side here if you need to get between the gears. That's exactly what this is meant for. There's not that much goo in here, but I'm going to try to get a little deeper. I'm not going to bore you with the actual cleaning part. Notice that the quick release lives on the non-dry side of the bike, and it is literally a quick release. So this pops out, wheel falls out, and on this side, I'm just going to let this lower down, and it should, just pop out. And then once you're here, and we're free. So my goal right now is I'm gonna take this quick release off, this skewer, and put on a new cassette. New cassette. Those are my air quotes. Grab these tools out of that busy shop, and I like this big 12-inch adjustable wrench. Here's my lock ring removal tool. Some of them come with a little end here, which is handy. It just keeps it a little more stable. And my chain whip. So how this works, I'm gonna remove this cassette, or I should say not the cassette, but the skewer. Reminder that when you're doing this, you want to keep the springs on their proper sides and their proper orientation. So notice that the springs go inside toward the center of the wheel. So they're conical, and the narrower side goes in. So I'm just going to thread this back on and leave it. This is a weird end cap, isn't it? We were thinking maybe it's for security. I don't know, or maybe it's that cool arrow look. I don't know. Anyway, so this guy is threaded like a normal peanut butter jar is threaded, right? So typical, turn it to the right, gets tighty, turn it to the left, it gets loose. The problem with that is that you can't loosen it without your chain whip. So this just fits in the teeth there, right? So if you look, there's teeth here, goes in those splines. So that feels good. But if I put a wrench on here and turn it, I'll turn all day, it won't loosen up. So that's what the point of the chain whip is. This is just a non-branded one. It'll work. Doesn't really matter which size, which cog you put it on, but you want to just kind of wedge it in there. Not loving this. Yeah, this thing is actually looking like the tool itself is damaged. So I'm gonna reject this chain whip. I don't want to use it. It looks like it's gonna mess up these teeth. This chain whip is a slightly different design. So rather than just that one little piece there that would catch between the teeth of the gears, this will use a piece of chain to do the same thing. So again, I'm gonna put this on here. I think I gotta go this way. I do that pretty much every time I use one of these things. Do I have it on the right way? No. Had it right the first time. So there it is. And now it shouldn't take too much to loosen this ring. Kind of popped out a little bit. Holding it in now. Yeah, did you hear it? Hear it break? Not break as in like it didn't break, but it broke free. And now we're done with the chain whip. So when we put it back on, when I turn it this way, then the pawls will engage and I won't need the chain whip. So it's only for cassette removal or freewheel removal that you need it. This whole thing just gonna slide off. So now we have our naked free hub body, which feels pretty good. It's a little dirty. I'll just give that a little wipe down and I'll put a thin coat of oil on it. And this guy, because of the damage, is gonna go into that metal recycle bin, which is also, by the way, where the old chain whip just went. So I think I will save the lock ring, but everything else is a no. And there's the whip and all kinds of gunk in there. So recycled tires from another project. I'm not a huge fan of spoke protectors, but they do have their place, especially for a person who maybe doesn't know much about making sure their shifter is adjusted. So all this does is stop the chain from falling in back of the cassette. And when you're changing the cassette, it's so easy to put it on. So I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. And they're super cheap. I think the last time I bought some of these personally, they were, I don't know, like 3 for like $7 or $8. Interesting, if you look on the hub here, you can see it's scratched up. The spokes are scratched up. I don't know if you can see that. So one time, at least someone did flip a chain. Here, the spoke's a little bent. So that's the argument for spoke protector. And the way this works is there's these just little clips back here, and I'm just gonna flex it. The clips open up, and then they just kind of grab on. Hopefully it's gonna fit on this hub. This hub might be a little big for this, but let's see. Yeah, this one isn't gonna work, so I'm gonna grab a different one. Could be that the third time is the charm. So this is a big boy, but it's gonna be fine if I can get the cassette on here and the lock ring. It's dirty, so I'm gonna clean it up. Clean, and gosh, it looks a lot like a 7-inch single, doesn't it? It's about the same size. No, I swear it's not a record, although it even has some grooving on it, which is pretty funny. So still not sure it's gonna work. So this has to be pinched on here so it doesn't flap around. I'm optimistic, but cautiously. Here we go again. So fat spline, and I've got this little washer on here. I'm being lazy, so I'm just looking here. I can see the fat spline. There's the arrow. You can barely make it out. So it's gonna look like that, and fingers crossed it's all gonna fit. I've already been disappointed today, so I don't know. Will the disappointment continue, or will I actually get some satisfaction? Right now, I just can't get no. I don't know. It's gotta have to go on there. These guys, I don't know if you can see this, but on this, usually the smallest cog, which would be your highest gear, so it's got the fewest teeth on here, so this is your fast gear. Sometimes they aren't, they don't have that fat spline like this one does. Sometimes it any old way goes, but this isn't the case with this one. Well, let's see, that went on. Let's try the lock ring. Will the lock ring bite? Maybe. I'm gonna use my lock ring tool, see if I can tighten it. I think we may be in business here. So like I said, I don't need the chain whip for this one. So this is just me leaning on it. You don't even have to lean that hard. It sounds like it's engaging, which is great. And this isn't flapping around, like it's got some give to it, but it's being held. Now can the, damn, this is what I was afraid of. So it's held nicely, but I can't now spin the cassette. Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony. So, unfortunately, this is not going to work with this free hub. So, once again, foiled. So we're going to go back with no spoke protector, which means that the person who gets this bike could damage those spokes even further if they misalign their shifting. I'll do my best to adjust it so that doesn't happen. Good news is we know this cassette absolutely is going to fit on this free hub body, but it's just not going to work with a spoke protector that I have in the shop. So I'm sure we could order one that's going to be the proper one, but I guess we'll have to save this wax for another bike. But that's all you really need. Hey, we're on to another step. Pretty loose right now. Gonna make sure this goes way up into the dropouts. Notice here, like this, and then this has got to come this way, right? Make sure that the chain happens all the time. You forget to put the chain back up in there. And then just giving this a good shove with my hands and my knee. And now I'm just gonna start turning this. And what I'm gonna do is keep it until I'm feeling it engage. I'm gonna show you the other side. So see how it's not falling out? How it is falling out? That means it's not tight enough. So it should be just hand tight where it doesn't fall out. Okay, there it is. So on this side, notice this isn't pushed in yet, right? So again, your quick release, damn it, lives on the other side of the bike, on the non-drive side. I'll back this out and try it again. There she goes. And then I'm just gonna push this. By the way, what you wanna do is, in general, keep this in alignment with this lower part of the triangle. They call that the chain stay, as opposed to the seat stay, which is the one up here. So pushing this close, it's a little loose, so I'm gonna tighten it a little more. There. So that looks pretty good. Remember that we still have to mess with this disc, which needs to be adjusted better than it is. And this little wave in there, but now that it's sitting in the dropouts how I think I want it, I'm just gonna double check that it's up as far as I can get it before I do anything else. So I really don't wanna have to mess with this another time. Mike was saying that This particular Shimano Dior is like substandard Dior, which I hadn't heard of before, but I trust his experience. Okay, so that's about as far as I can get it. Again, it's okay, it's working. So now I'm gonna start my adjustment process. So the idea, hopefully, is now that we've gone to all this trouble, that we can get this thing to shift cleanly, smoothly. It's gonna feel good when I ride. It's not gonna make weird sounds. I'm expecting that it's gonna need an adjustment. Yeah, so see how it's kind of hesitating there? I want that to just pop up. So what I wanna do is make this cable shorter. I do that by turning out this barrel adjuster. I'm turning it, from my perspective, I'm turning it counterclockwise. So that backs out the screw in here, and that effectively makes this housing longer, which means the cable has to travel further, which gives me an increase in my cable pull. So let's see if I have enough there, so when I start to shift back up the cassette, that it shifts cleanly. Still a slight hesitation, so I'm gonna give it just a couple more. Oh, like that. Part of it sometimes is I'm just not shifting hard enough up at the front. So if I'm soft, see how right now I'm just kind of not really shifting with like I mean it, and so it's like, yeah, and they go, gosh, my shifting isn't working. No, sometimes it's the operator. So when I shift them like I mean it, a little hesitation on that one. Good, and I'm very careful now because I really don't want to send this into the spokes. So right now, I shouldn't be able to shift it this way. So let's just make sure that that's the case. If not, that's what these screws here, these are called limiter screws. And if you look, there's an H and an L stamped on here. So that's as far as I can shift it. And see how it's kind of falling off? This should be right underneath, and it looks like it's slightly that way. So that's where my limiter screws come in. So what I want to do, this would be my low gear. I want to give myself more room down here on the low gear. So I'm going to take this and turn it outwards. And see if that gives me the travel that I want. It may not, I may have to do more adjustment of the cable, but let's see what happens. Again, I'm being very careful because I don't want to send it into the spokes. See now how that kind of hopped up on the last cog here, this lowest cog. So that may be all I need. And now I'm just pushing on here to see if I can send it up in here. I can't. Again, I'd love a spoke protector. It ain't happening today. Let's go shifting down now and see if I can keep it smooth. A little hesitation there. Maybe that's the tiniest bit inward. That's gonna let it hop down a little better. So first I'm gonna make sure I didn't mess up my going up the cassette. Again, notice here my limiter screw is okay, so it's not popping off the cassette this direction. Not loving the way it sounds, but it might just be, yeah. So there's another screw here, and this one I can push on it and have this a little cleaner. So I'm gonna take this, and this one I'm gonna turn it in, and what it's gonna do is push this thing this way. See if I can make it happy. It doesn't like this particular screwdriver. See if I can get it to turn with this one. Yeah, there she goes. Okay, so now, let's see if that helped. A little bit, you can hear it, tire hitting the camera there. I'm gonna keep going. There. That's not bad. So can you hear that little bump? I'm gonna keep going, just for the heck of it. On the more modern bikes, these things are set very, very specifically. On these older style ones, not so much. Oh, that's the Contours, 1962. There's some line dancing in there, crazy time. Yeah, just this lowest cog, I'm not loving. This is the high limit screw, will be for the high gear. I'm gonna turn this ever so slightly inward, see if I can make a difference. It actually feels a little better. I'm calling it good. What I'm trying to do is show you the gap here between the rotor and the caliper. So if you look, there's some daylight showing, and only on one side, which is why when I spin this, it doesn't spin super freely. There still is also that wave in here, but right now I'm hoping that I can just adjust this enough. So with these guys, there is actually adjustment right there. So I'm gonna attempt to just back it out. That would be the simplest thing. If I can't, then I can get in here and loosen up these screws and do a more detailed adjustment. So this is a Park Tool PHT 25. It's P handle. P handle, because I guess it looks like the letter P vaguely. And then T is for Torx 25, T25. So I can't get a really good angle on this, but I can kind of just come in here and cheat it a little bit. And I'm gonna just turn it out a little bit and see if I can't get it to work better than it is. All right, and then I'm gonna come over here and check, see if I have any more room. Doesn't look a whole lot better. Let's give it a spin. Well, it's better, but not where I want it. Better, but not good. So. No, let's try the other way just for the heck of it. I don't claim to know everything about these old school calipers. I'm guessing this is going to make it worse, but I'm willing to try. Indeed, it does make it worse. Okay, so I'm going to go back and loosen it. have to do is center it. So the way to do that is, again, I'm trying to get the daylight from the far side. I'm trying to get this daylight up in here to disappear right between this caliper and the brake pad. So that's what these adjustments are for right here. That's a 5 mil, not the Torx that I'm pointing it with. So the way to do that is I'm gonna loosen these, and you'll see once I do, the brake caliper will kind of float around a little bit. Isn't very tight. Doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. They don't have to be super tight, but I personally like them a little tighter than that. So now you see how that's floating around. So theoretically, although not guaranteed, if I squeeze the brake lever, so then right now this is centered, so it's on equal sides. So no guarantees that this is going to work. I'm going to tighten this slowly and incrementally. Thank you, UBI, for that phrasing. Okay, let's release, see how it looks. So that looks better to me. Let's see if it acts better. Yeah, so see how much more freely that spins? That's what I want. Yes. So am I done? No, I'm not done, because I still got to test drive this thing. Again, it might not behave so well. One of these long, frustrating days. Just took forever to do this to get it right, but it seems right. So I'm gonna test ride it around here in this big empty room. By the way, indoor, outdoor carpet, but I'm listening for noises. Not hearing anything. That's my bike, by the way, locked up as usual. You know what? I think she's good. I think she's good. Yeah, I'm gonna call it good. All right. That took a long time coming, but I think this bike is where it needs to be. I think it's ready for its next owner. By the way, it did clean the chain. Hit it with some cleaner, degreaser, and then lubed it up.